Welcome to ThriveGroups. We're so glad to have you with us this week as we continue our series called Chaos or Design, where we're taking a look at the world around us, our lives, the universe, the plant life, all of these different things, and trying to determine, is there evidence of chaos or is there evidence of design? Did everything come from nothing or did it come from a creator? Well, before we jump into our questions for today, we're going to go over our ground rules. First is that we want to encourage everyone to participate, but no one to dominate. So share your stories, but leave room for other people to share theirs as well. Also, we start on time, we end on time. So we want to stay respectful of the location that we're in. So we're going to jump right in with our opening question. What is your favorite smell? Your favorite smell can be anything. Anything that you would say, this is my favorite smell. Maybe something that triggers a memory or whatever it may be. For me, I would have to say it's the woods in New Hampshire. Because they're full of balsam fir trees, and the smell is just amazing. The air smells so clean, it's so fragrant, and anytime I'm there, I absolutely love the smell of the woods there, unlike anything around here. So what about you? What's your favorite smell? Well, we're going to read some verses here and we're going to talk about what stands out to us. So today we're going to be reading from Romans 1 20 through 22, and then we'll discuss it. So I'll read it first. Here we go. For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power, and his divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God. Yes, they knew God, but they wouldn't worship him as God or even give him thanks. And they began to think up foolish ideas of what God was like. As a result, their minds became dark and confused. Claiming to be wise, they instead became utter fools. So let's take a few moments to discuss what stands out to us in those verses. Okay, next question here. What was the most beautiful thing that you've ever experienced in nature? For me, I would have to say simply it's not one specific moment, but it's seeing the sunset over the water, whether it's a lake or whether it's the ocean. Just that moment where it's hitting the horizon and the sky is illuminated with oranges and reds. It's just a beautiful, beautiful moment, and I just can't help but stop and appreciate that. Also, I'm going to throw in there a second thing, and that's last year when we saw the aurora borealis, or the northern lights, that came down as low as here in Connecticut, and man, that was absolutely stunning as well. But I would say, between those two, I'd say the sunset is a more consistent thing, but both of them absolutely breathtaking. Next question, share about something that beautiful that impacted your life, impacted you. Maybe it was art, music, a movie, nature, something like that. For me, I don't know, maybe a year ago, I heard a rendition of the song "Stand by Me," old classic song, "Stand by Me" by a guy, Stephen Wilson Jr. And I heard it, and it was just haunting and beautiful. And I've heard the song, my whole life, but never that version of it. Once I heard that version, it just impacted me deeply. I kept listening to it, and it was just an amazing version of it. But what about you? What's something that maybe you saw or experienced, and it impacted you? Final question is, how can you experience God's beauty this week? Maybe going for a walk or a hike or sitting next to a river somewhere. Maybe just going out in the backyard and just like looking at the birds and the trees and hearing the wind move. But what's a way that you can practically experience God's beauty this week? Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We're going to close in prayer, and I would encourage you to all take an opportunity to pray. Before you do that, you can share anything that maybe you want the group to pray for: a struggle, an issue, a difficulty going on in your life, a sickness, and then we want to encourage the group to pray together for each other. And then you can pray, say a few words. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. A few words. Once you're done, you can say Amen. Next person will go, and the group leader will close it up. So, thank you so much for joining us this week. Let's close in prayer.